So I do a lot of driving, and today I thought of, becoming into, because people talk about Israel, and I talk about the spiritual Israel, or the tribe of Judah. It's where, we were born in the image of Christ, and we're born into sin. Satan is the god of this world. We're born into our fallen world with our sin nature upon us. And the curse kind of is there. Some people will never realize the narrative of that curse, because when you adhere to your societal expectations, worldly expectations, whatever stipulations are placed upon you at your birth, not all are going to be the same narratives depending upon your upbringing, your culture, etc. But these are the things we can fall away to. It could be, depleting your emotional and mental resources. I tell people all the time, the Lord would never require you to deplete those things or your identity in Him, or degrade your own well-being to become what He created you to be. We were created for greatness, to be victorious, to be a creative thinker, to have hopes and dreams without destroying our entity in the entirety of thereof. Although this fallen world can implement many narratives through many devices of that oppression or degradation, this is why I've removed a lot of things out of my life. I look back at my life, hindsight is always 20/20, and I think how much the Lord has protected me from keeping me out of the world. Maybe never was a big TV watcher. Maybe that's why I have such an unbiased opinion or stipulations placed upon me than others, whom the God of this world has blinded them. And how He blinds you is through His means. Secular music, TV, etc. Becoming a part of that world, or accepting or adhering to its ways. For they know not what they do. Father, please forgive them. So now that the Lord has revealed all things, because remember, the remnant or the true bride is not going to be defiled with the false bride or apostasy or its system of things, because it's a system. It's many people's. Remember, it sits on many waters. The harlot sits on many waters. It's a system of things that are implemented through the entirety of rulers of this world, dark rulers. So it's a narrative of their directives, who is governed by their God, which is Satan. Because if you're loving the world, you're loving Satan, whether you know this or not. So those narratives are implemented into our lives through religion, through institutional systems, educational systems, where you grow into their ladder of expectations, where they place stipulations, reward, gains, certificates, degrees, and it's a controlled environment. Whereas worship become your identity shouldn't be based on the opinions of man, and let them direct or define who you're going to become or what you believe in. So it's a system, and the world marvels, because this has been going on since the beginning of time, since the monetary system was put in place, to where you don't self-sustain. We don't have home economics. There's just many things I think about, how we become dependent upon their ways. Like the Lord said, flee from Judea, come out of the world. We're in this world, but not of it. I've put down a lot of worldly pleasures to walk this narrow path, because when the Lord reveals to you the world's going into destruction because of those narratives, Babylon, trusted in her own wisdom and her sorceries, can't save her. Dark rulers, sorceries, they've got their power from outsider dog sorcerers, those who practice falsehood and lies, the deceitfulness of the wealthy. They got their powers from a dark force, and it's destructive for them. They strengthened their hand in the Pharaoh gods of Egypt, and it will cause them to perish. That's why the Lord commands us to come out of Egypt. We don't all serve the same gods. This is all biblical, like in King Solomon. Hiramabi was adjacent to that, where you're getting into the Kabbalah and phallic worship and serving a very false god that's going to be destructive for your well-being. We serve the Prince of Peace, the shelter me under the wings of the Most High God. No noisome pestilent or plague will come nigh thy. See, most people don't even know they're under this narrative, whom the God of this world has blinded them, because it's been going on for so long. You adhere to or groom to its ways. In your adolescency, you're adhering to your environment or surroundings, succumbing to its variables. So this is why I must see spiritual discerning of me. Why I even say, well, these children have bad spirits on them. Well, because when they've been put in front of technology, TVs, music, and it's I call it the octopus spirit, the mind control that they're under, because I guess when you're blinded by the world's ways and its narrative, you may never see these things. But if the Lord woke you up, that remnant, for a reason, and He's showing you and revealing you these things, it's so you can destroy those altars that are working or operating over people's lives, and they don't even realize it. Because for they know not what they do, Father, please forgive them. They're just operating in the narrative of this world. They don't even know this world lies under the power of the wicked one. So you might be, if you're in sin, you're most definitely in the kingdom of darkness. But there are other factors, evil altars that could be operating over your life, ungodly soul ties. It says when you come to the cross, your family will be your own household will be your enemies. Why? Because you've come to the truth and they're still sitting under deceptions. They take it as condemnation, and you're convicting them because you're trying to wake them up to the truth of the deceptions they've been operating under, and they're serving a false god that can't save them. And most people don't know they are, whom the God of this world has blinded them. Because I even got to the point where I was asking people, what God are we talking about? Because the God I serve requires me to be holy. So this is where this is how minute the details become for the kingdom of God. Sanctification and being holy, coming out of Egypt, phallic worship, there's many variables can throw you into darkness. He had showed me all religion came from the kingdom of darkness. Some defected from the truth worse than others. Flee Judea, they were under the Talmud. Worse than the Talmud would be the Kabbalah, seducing spirits to doctrines of devils. And then these doctrines of devils seduce you into their narrative. Because they're operating in that kingdom, and it's going to affect your reality or perspective, especially when they're governing over regions, cities, states, and worlds. Sits on many waters. So there's a demonic entity that can supersede anything that you're operating in and control your mind. The octopus spirit, the Leviathan, the marine kingdom. You have to know how these work. I speak of demonic networks all the time because Satan can't be everywhere at all times, but he surely can use people, and it's through the spirit of the Antichrist.